The hardest days as a veterinary technician. Hey, Reddit. I've been a veterinary technician for almost a decade, and while I love my job, it comes with some incredibly tough days. Here are a few of the worst experiences I've had. One of the first cases that really got to me was a dog who had been hit by a car. His owners brought him in, frantic and crying. We did everything we could, but his injuries were too severe. Holding him as he took his last breath, with his owners sobbing beside me, was heartbreaking. It was my first real encounter with the fragility of life, and it hit me hard. Another difficult situation involved a cat that had been severely neglected. She was emaciated, covered in fleas, and clearly in pain. We nursed her back to health, but she never fully recovered from the trauma. Finding her a loving home was a small victory, but it was a stark reminder of how cruel people can be. Then there was the time a family brought in their elderly dog to be euthanized. He had been their loyal companion for over 15 years, but his health had deteriorated to the point where he was suffering. The entire family, including the kids, were there, saying their goodbyes. It was an emotional scene, and I couldn't help but tear up as I administered the injection. It's never easy to see a family lose a beloved pet. One of the most challenging cases involved a horse with a severe colic. The owner was a young girl who was absolutely devoted to her horse. We worked through the night to try and save him, but in the end, he had to be euthanized. Seeing the girl's devastation as she said goodbye to her best friend was incredibly tough. It's moments like these that really test your emotional strength. There was also a case of a puppy mill raid. We took in over a dozen dogs, all in terrible condition. They were scared, sick, and had never known kindness. It was a long road to rehabilitation for them, and while some found loving homes, others were too damaged to fully recover. The cruelty of the situation was overwhelming, but it also reinforced the importance of our work. One particularly heartbreaking case was a young cat, diagnosed with a terminal illness. His owner, an elderly woman, couldn't bear to let him go. She brought him in every day, hoping for a miracle. Eventually, we had to have a difficult conversation about his quality of life. When she finally agreed to let him go, she held him in her arms, whispering how much she loved him. It was a moment filled with profound sadness and love. Despite the heartbreak, there are also moments of joy and recovery that make it all worthwhile. Seeing an animal recover from a serious illness, or finding a neglected pet a loving home, brings immense satisfaction. The bond between humans and their pets is incredibly special, and being a part of that is an honor.